Today, I must dive deep within and know what I came to this earth stage for. That's a poem by Sri Chinmoy written in 1996. And that poem became very important to me in this last week, which has been a time of transition. Transition, time between projects, a transition of the seasons, a transition of the school year. To come here to Aspiration Ground was a way for me to reset my own spiritual aspiration. And it was also an invitation to meditate with Sri Chinmoy's poetry over the last couple of weeks. And it completely changed my own outlook and energy. And it restored me to an elevation and to a remembrance of the divine. So I know that a lot of that was possible because of the energy in these poems. So as we hear today, poetry is so many different things. Sometimes it's a remembrance. It's a eulogy for someone who must be remembered, as Maria so beautifully showed us. Sometimes it's a record of our own lives, or it's a record of our own being. And sometimes it's a channel to the divine wisdom. And like a mantra, those words hold the energy. His poetry this week. One thing that really moved me was the compassion in the poems. The feeling that although he was an elevated being, he also had great compassion and understanding of the pangs we experience on earth. My Krishna looks dark, he wrote, because I have spilled the ink of my mind on him. Otherwise, my beloved is all light. Sri Chinmoy was intimately acquainted with this all light, but he also embodied and knew human feelings and perceptions. He knew the dualistic struggles we experience even when we long for transcendence, and he was honest and compassionate enough to put it in his poetry. This is his poem, My Life Alternates with God. My day alternates with night. My fear alternates with strength. My doubt alternates with certainty. My love alternates with hatred. My defeat alternates with victory. I alternate with God. My soul alternates with God the dreamer. My heart alternates with God the lover. My life alternates with God the player. In this poem, the dualities of earth life, that exhausting back and forth that we can go through, is finally solved by the relationship to God, which is beyond all duality. And those happen in two different stanzas in the poem. And so many of Sri Chinmoy's poems enact a healing shift. They actually take us through a shift in consciousness to an expanded consciousness that becomes available because they meet us in our humanity. They reach out to us there. And this reminds me that the divine loves us to the edges of our understanding and knows us in our soul's longings. I feel you know all of this, and as Maria said, it is humbling to read and write and talk about poetry to a group of people who are living, truly living the soul's aspiration in all of your works and all of your creations. So thank you. I just want to sort of repeat that what kept coming through the poems for me was that Sri Chinmoy was a spiritual luminary, obviously, a transformed being and a guru who elevated all he met. But his poems reveal that he was in a relationship to the divine that was not finished or static. It wasn't complete. It was ongoing. It was a real relationship, evolving, growing, and renewing itself every day. And some of the poems that I find most moving enact that relationship through a conversation. And I was thinking about how a conversation is always an opportunity to heal duality and to heal otherness and to come to some experience of oneness. So these conversation poems do that between the human and the divine. This is his poem, I Become Perfect. Lord, I am sufficient only when I have you on my side. And this is the answer. Child, I am sufficient only when I take your side. When I add peace to your achievements, I become complete. When I add light to your achievements, I become perfect. This poem is a conversation between the human and the divine. And it makes me think about how our lives and our achievements and our acts can also be a conversation between the human and the divine, just like the poems are. I write about this in the introduction that Ranjana kindly mentioned, but another thing I noticed was how many of the poems have these wonderful winsome word pairings, like love-like, light, silk venom, nectar, compassion. These pairings marry a feeling with a concrete image. And in that way, they let us know that the spiritual and the material worlds are always in conversation. Just as the divine is made manifest through the beings of this world, compassion is experienced as an earthly substance, a nectar. It is love taking form as light, light taking form as love. It is a reminder that a guru could not just stay in the energetic realm of compassion, but must enter into the substance and acts of compassion, the nectar of love light. And I feel that the blooming in this place is also that nectar. And these poems are all about sort of coming from our earthly life and then taking the choice, like many people in this group have done, to be reborn into the life of the spirit, to be consciously led by the life of the spirit. And so the final 3 poems, and they'll just be 4 short poems, are from a book I wrote called Mary is a River, and it's a book in the voice of Mary Magdalene. And so it's imagining what it would be like to be a disciple and to be truly feeling and following that truth on the earth. And I know that many people in this gathering have had a similar feeling. And I was inspired yesterday because Ranjana said something about how Guru kept you all so busy. And you were always doing things and then doing more things. And so I was just thinking about the spirit as this constant activity, this constant creative activity here. So here are some poems that try to speak to that. Glyph. Once we had names we were born knowing. Mine surfaced in me in the slow river of sleep. I stretched in its shape, then I lost it and had to live lifetimes meeting it back. But the dogs at the gate will stop barking. The snow on the ground will shine. There will be smokestacks and steeples and sun sparkling on cinders and shy leaves chiming. And you will dream of the body you loved and wore around you once, wading through water, stumbling through breath beats to the song. Do you remember those tiny ancient mouths nipping at your ankles? How you fished them out and called them sounds? I was just one of them, minnow, crayfish, thin seed, before you called my name and it summoned me, that we are traveling toward. In my heart dawn and soul sun, I loved my in my heart dawn and soul sun, I loved my life's morning walks. Hope beauty led my eyes and guided my steps. I loved my life's midday runs. Reality's naked life has sent uncertainty into destruction exile. I shall love my life's evening stumblings. Evening does not mark the end. Evening is the precursor of a purer dawn and a brighter sun. In my heart dawn, my preparations shall begin. In my soul sun, my perfection shall bloom. A final prayer. Supreme, teach me how to surrender. Beginningless am I, and endless am I. No more do I have form life. I am beckoned by the formless, infinite inner moon. Today, the flood of delight inundates me, my all. All my bondage shackles are smashed and broken. No more heart pangs, no more darkness life. Thank you.